I really don't have a plan or anything. We're just going to hang out and learn book shit as it came up. I do have one thing I want to start with, but that's what this show is about. I'm not going to be auctioning stuff. We do larger auctions towards the weekend where everything's real fast and, we got the top-down camera, all that stuff. But this show is kind of my, mental reset for the week. And I like to, learn shit, and it makes me better at this. So come with me. It'll be fun. We'll learn some stuff. The other thing that we'll do right after I do the first thing I want to do is this is the database. What this is, again, if it's your first time, if you've been here a bunch, you know this already, just tune me out. But we go through individually each one of these authors and we learn a little bit about their history, their past, what they've written, why, any other fun factoids. Then we actually will go to eBay and we'll go to the back end here. And I'm not promoting eBay. Do definitely, if you Whatnot is a much better buying experience. But what it does have is this back end here where we can look up sell-through rates, bolos. And if you don't know what a bolo is, it's a be on the lookout, that kind of thing. I do a lot of sourcing out in the wild at the Goodwill bins, and I have to be faster than the scanners, or I have to know what the scanners are not finding so I can make sure I focus on that, right? Because server failed to respond. That's never good. But we'll go back to that. So that's the thing. And I firmly believe that we practice at home and we execute when we're out there. Do you know what I'm saying? So we got to know this stuff. Not that you can't look stuff up there, but again, if you've ever been to the Goodwill bins, you got to be quick. But the one thing I did want to look up before we do absolutely anything else is yearbooks. Yearbooks are one of those things that scanners never pick up. Most people aren't looking for them. You can generally go into thrift stores, anywhere, estate sales, auctions, and everybody always leaves the yearbooks behind. But the thing that you need to understand around yearbooks is that they're extremely low print and that there are people looking for them. Whether it's they were a student themselves and they want the yearbook that they lost or never had or got damaged or whatever the story is. A lot of times I'll get messages from the kids. And the kids would be like, hey, my dad went to this school in 65. Can you turn, is he on page, blah, 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 blah. Because they want to make sure it's the right year. And it's always a neat conversation. It's a neat thing. And then you can always get yearbooks really, 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 really cheap. And they're worth saving. All books are worth saving. Because when you find them, you're very rarely ever looking for a yearbook. But I also want to point out that there's people who collect yearbooks because of the people that inside them. For example, here's LeBron James, his high school photo. Jackie Robinson, there's his high school or college photo. And then you might actually see signatures of famous people in the back. And there's a whole industry around these yearbooks. And I don't know if people who maybe collect books or save books or resell books, whatever your purpose, as long as the books are getting out of the trash, I don't give a shit. You go. But it's worth either kind of taking a look into here's Steve Jobs. I'm not saying they're getting $30,000 a piece. We're going to look, but it's worth. So if you're at the bins or at a thrift store and you see a yearbook for 50 cents, $1, whatever it is, take them all. Especially if you're a reseller. Now they will take a while to sell because you're looking for that one person. And I'm talking about most yearbooks. You'll get, $10, $15, $20 for them. And if you've got the space, it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling when you're able to respond to that person who's asking if their parent is in the yearbook. Yes, it is. And then they're so happy. You're so happy. And it's just it's a really high point in the universe, I feel. Curator says, I had that with a lady who didn't have any pics of her husband in school. Exactly. That kind of shit. Sold 2 yearbooks for $100 total for her to give to her grandson. And again, low print. This may be the only photo of that person in existence, especially older guys. Guys don't like to get their photos taken. Not going to lie, that makes me feel weird that someone may have a yearbook with me in there. It is a thing. That is a thing. So let's take a look at solds. And let's skip this song. This song's a little too heavy for Steve. All right, let's go to Hayloft. And well, let's just kind of go through here a little bit and just kind of see what's actually selling for what. And if you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but go down to sold items when you're in filters, and when it's green like this, that means money has actually exchanged hands, right? And that can kind of it's like looking at an auction receipt, because that's exactly what these are. So if we can find, like, this one's legit. 1955 World Series champs team signed yearbook, Jackie Robinson, 10 grand. But this is probably more of a sports yearbook than an actual yearbook. So that one doesn't really count. Oh, I think I just closed down my own tab too. Oh well, we'll do this. We'll go quick. Yearbook. We're just going to type in generic yearbook, and then we're going to go down to sold. I just kind of want to glance real quick to see what this gives us, and then we'll do the same thing in the back end research. Excuse me. Oh wow. So 1944 Japanese internment camp. Who's Cody, Wyoming? So let's take a look at that one. Here's a Marilyn Monroe. I think that's more of a sports yearbook, so we won't count that. The Howitzer. Eisenhower apparently went to school here, 1915. Does anybody know of a good tool that exists to where, like, you could type in maybe a yearbook or a school or a class, and be like, what famous people went here? Let's try. I'm going to dox myself. I went to high school at Fort Zumwalt North in O'Fallon, Missouri. Are there any famous alumni from there in its history? I wonder how much AI can help us with this. Okay. So Susan Morey, Thomas Morris, I don't know any of these people. George, I don't know any of these people. So I guess if you have a stack of yearbooks, let's give it a shot. Let's just take a random one. I got a whole stack of yearbooks behind me, which is kind of why I was wanting to do this. Because I have a whole, like, 2 bookshelves of yearbooks downstairs, but I've never looked them up. So this one here is 1969, Viking College, Jefferson College in Hillsboro. Jefferson College in Hillsboro, Missouri. In Hillsboro, am I spelling Hillsboro correct? I am. Any famous people from that year? Because I guess it probably would, right? Because Cody, Wyoming is where the camp was. Thank you. So it could be, that's pretty awesome. So we'll let that do its thing, and we'll come back. I don't care which response you give me. Let's do the shorter one. It says 1963 doesn't have a long list of famous alumni in the sense of national celebrities. 2-year institution, few very well-known people. Okay, so like a Major League Baseball pitcher, but none of them are from this year. So, but that might be like, if you think that you might have something special, it might be worth taking a look, or something to do like when you're bored. All right, let's go back over here. This is the Cody, Wyoming. You said this is where the camp was? Oh, the actual internment camp was. Wow. So I guess, was this their high school? Like, that was at the camp? Are they all Asian? Look at that. Okay, so so those of you who don't know World War II, Americans always don't get shit correct. We were so scared of Japanese people and Japanese spies that we literally took Japanese citizens and detained them in what I would consider a concentration camp or internment camp. These people were interred there. They were concentrated there, right, because of their nationality. And not a high point in American history by any stretch. George Takei actually wrote a really good book, graphic novel to make, because he experienced all this. Really, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's George Takei. It's a graphic novel, real famous, kind of up there with Mouse and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I did not know they had schools on the premises, but I guess that would make sense. This one here is Marilyn Monroe. Let's see if we can't find Marilyn Monroe. Oh, right there. That's her. That's her, Marilyn Monroe. What was her original name? Does that say the name? What was Marilyn Monroe's actual name? What is Marilyn Monroe's actual name? Because I'm sure that's a stage name, right? Norma Jean Mortensen is what it says here. Is there a Norma Jean? They say that, sir, but like, how do we know? How do we know, team? It feels like camps in detention. Yeah, Wolf, it is still happening. Like the amount of literature and books that are going to come out of this time, the amount of stories that are happening right now in America, because we are doing the same kind of bullshit, not to the level of this, but we're like on the way. We just possibly started World War III yesterday or this weekend, which we didn't really talk about this weekend, but normally we would. But Norma Jean Baker is, okay, where's the B? B-A, okay, is that Nancy Baker? Is it on this side? Oh, there is Louise Baker. Norma Baker, right there. Norma Baker. Right. So that is it. Norma Jean Baker. So that's her right there, I guess. Look at that. Wow. A little bit different from the lady that we all know. You know what I mean? On the right, I believe that was her married name. Okay, very cool. Yeah. So if you happen to find, now what I want to see is what yearbook is this? The Chieftain from 1942. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a like $2,000-$3,000. How much was it? What did it say? It was accepted a best offer, so probably between $2,000 and $3,000, give or take, for a yearbook that you could find in the bins for 50 cents or $1, $2, or whatever. This is West Point, the Howitzer yearbook. Eisenhower and Omar Bradley. I don't know Omar Bradley so much, but I do know Eisenhower. Let's check this one out. So basically what I'm saying is that if you have not thought about yearbooks being, of course they're valuable for what they represent to all of us, but there's also very significant, Moberly, Missouri. I didn't know he was from Moberly. Omar Bradley. Was he like a famous military dude? What was his deal? Give me one paragraph on Omar Bradley. Give me a paragraph. And this is kind of the show. We just follow every rabbit trail that kind of comes up. And we learn a bunch of shit about a bunch of random shit. And we all get smarter randomly. And then when we finally get our opportunity to go play on Jeopardy, we'll kick ass. Omar Bradley, born 1893, died 1981, was a senior United States Army commander during World War II and later the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Graduate of West Point, rose to prominence during commanding U.S. forces in North Africa and Sicily, leading the first U.S. Army during the D-Day invasion. So this guy's a BAMF. Known as the Soldier's General for his calm demeanor and concern for enlisted men, so he was a good man, too. That's good. He played a central role in the Allied advance across Western Europe and the defeat of Nazis. Nazis are bad. I didn't know I'd have to remind certain Americans that Nazis are bad. And like we honor folks that beat up the Nazis, and then we invited the Nazis back in 2026. I'm not sure why we're doing that, but seems dumb in the context of history. All right, what else we got? We got the Howitzer. We looked at that one. Let's look at a few more. Okay, so this is another Japanese internment camp book. Woman's Air Force. That's not a traditional yearbook, but we'll talk about those too. Super rare 19. Who's Lucian Youngblood? We'll look at that one. Do international schools like Britain? I actually don't have any idea. Turns out those people love selective history, do they? Oh, yeah. Okay, I made a comment about those people. Yeah, they take the bits. See, they do that with the Bible, too, I've found. I used to be heavily involved in ministry, especially like youth ministry. I used to work a lot with like teens. I used to preach every now and then and stuff like that. I've also found that people like to selectively read their Bible, too. Conveniently on whatever makes the point they're currently trying to make. You see, friends, the Bible doesn't work like that. You have to take the whole thing or you have to dismiss the whole thing. It's not an either or. So I have not made many friends pointing that out in church ministry. I have been asked to leave many meetings, but that's all right. I don't mind. So this one here is Manzanar, California. Apparently this is another internment camp. So basically, if you get any yearbook from the 1940s, it's probably worth flipping open just to see if it looks like this and all of the people in the images are Asian. That's, a hint. You might have a 2000. I am learning this. I didn't even realize that internment camps would have yearbooks, let alone that they'd be this expensive. So, it makes sense now that I'm aware of it. Duh, why didn't I you just things you never think about, right? And that's why I love ADHD so much, because you find out the things you don't know because you don't know them. You know what I mean? It's super fun. But anyway, I want to talk about these kind of books real quick. This is not a traditional yearbook in the sense of a school. Some folks know this, some folks don't do this, especially Navy will do this a lot. I find more Navy than anything else. But when people go on mission, especially if they're on a boat and they're on mission for a certain amount of time, they will at the conclusion of the mission put together one of these yearbooks. And then they will usually either be sold or given out to the people who are in the mission. So they're even, depending on the size of the mission, lower print than a traditional yearbook would be at a decent sized school. But they will get to the secondhand market. People collect them. Of course, people who are on that mission are looking for replacements. They're always full of photos. And they're usually always 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks a piece. This one, for some reason, is too freaking grand. I don't know why. Could be just because it's women's Air Force, and that might be even more difficult to find, all-female regiment kind of a thing. I don't know. Both Baptists and Catholics are bad at cherry-picking Bible. Yes, they very much are. So, and the thing is when folks do that, when religious folks do that, I think it obscures the magnificence of the person of Jesus Christ. Because if you actually read the Bible, Jesus is cool. He's the guy that you want on your side. He's the guy that's flipping the tables over at hypocrisy at church. He's the guy that's saying, nah, I want to hang out with the people in the bar because they're real. You know what I mean? And they're even though they're rough, they're cooler than your lying ass Pharisee. You know what I'm saying? He's all of us. He's the guy that we would want to hang out with. You know what I mean? He fed the poor, healed the sick. That guy's that's badass. Anyway, that's how I feel. And because the first time I read the Bible, I didn't read it so much as a religious text. I read it as let's just read it like a book. A little bit harder to read like a book, obviously, but a lot of it's taken out of context. And is this Youngblood? Who's Lucian Youngblood? Did I look this up? Anyway, who is Lucian Youngblood? I don't know who that is. The irony of even not getting that is funny. It would help that's what I'm saying. The Bible says, go out into all the world and save people. It says, be all things to all people in the hopes of saving some. That's the mission. Save people. Drives me nuts. I can't stand most churches. Anyway, some churches are really amazing. I don't want to say they're all kind of terrible, but once you get to a point where you're more concerned with putting butts in your seats because you have overhead of a church, there's a reason why Paul wrote the letters as he did and said, I went everywhere and I worked and paid my own way, so no one could hold anything against me, and I could freely speak the gospel without anyone second guessing or questioning my motivations. That's an example that's set in the New Testament. We just ignore it. We just ignore it, Mr. Joel Osteen. Anyway, Lucian Neville's Youngblood was a U.S. Army Air Forces pilot in World War II and one of the aviators chosen to participate in the Doolittle Raid. No idea what the Doolittle Raid is. The first American air attack on Tokyo after the it was our immediate retaliation. That's interesting. He served as did he drop the bomb? He served as co-pilot of a B-25 bomber launched from the USS Hornet on April 18th, I thought we dropped bombs later. 1942, and continued flying combat missions in the... Okay. For his service, Youngblood was awarded decorations including the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Silver Star for being a badass. He died, unfortunately, at age 30. So he was one of those American hero people. Do you know what I mean? So this guy here. It is kind of surreal, knowing how their lives turned out and then seeing them at 18, it's 17, 18. It's sad and surreal a little bit. Do you guys get that vibe? So it's the plot to the movie. Oh, so this is the guy. I've never actually watched that, Jeff. Thank you. Okay. Good to know. We might just be doing yearbooks today. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys aren't bored, but this is neat. James Dean. We know James Dean. That's part of it. He's a performer, right? Black and Gold, 1949. I think is something that I'm going to start doing in my workflow because I do source so many yearbooks. I probably literally have 100, 200 yearbooks downstairs. I just have them on my basement. I pick them up when I find them, and I just throw them in the back. They sell not fast, and I'm probably losing money overall, but it's part of the whole no book left behind kind of thing. I probably need to go through there and see if I'm not sitting on something ridiculous. But here's James Dean right there. I think that's Dean. Is that him? And of course, James Dean, good-looking dude, man. He remained thusly as he grew up. Now, James Dean was also a movie guy, right? He was in that really one. James Dean did what all again? Iconic American actor, cultural figure, remembered for his intense brooding scene. East of Eden, of course, which is based on Steinbeck, I hope. Rebel Without a Cause is probably the one where everybody first really, really knows him. Released posthumously, where he played the sensitive ranch hand. Method acting. Yeah, he was like a big sexy guy too. Like when I find old pulp magazines, he's like a Hollywood hunk kind of a deal. How did he pass, Curate? I'm not sure. My yearbook has an Epstein girl in it. Oh no, Dan. Elvis Presley yearbook. We can look that up. Let's look that up real quick. So here's James Dean. We got one more here. We already looked at that one. Let's look up Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley high school yearbook. 1953. Let's see if there's one. Humes High School. Here's Priscilla Presley. That's her photo there. Elvis Presley alma mater. So let's look up Humes High School. Humes High School. Herald 5 yearbooks. Elvis Presley, 1953. So is this all right, what years did Elvis Presley attend Humes High School? Oh, he did. Oh, you know what? I think I remember that. That's unfortunate. He died relatively young too, didn't he? 1949 to 1953. So let's systematically just kind of go through it. So this is the year he would have been a freshman. This is his senior year, and that's a reprint. Oh, wow. Okay, so apparently they did a 50th anniversary edition so they could show Presley's stuff. I don't know why this guy wouldn't have taken a photo of where the Presley is. That's kind of the big thing you'd want to see. 1934, 1949. He was in. Oh, that's the wrong one. All right, let's go to Sold and see what we see there. All right. So this is the reprint, another reprint, 1953. So even the reprints go for $50. This is the reprint that didn't have the photo in it. So let's see. There he is. That's Elvis Presley as a senior in high school. Oh, wow. My James Dean was 24. Wow. I have a daughter who's be 22 this year. That's too young. So there's Presley. So 1949, 1950, 49, 50, 51, 52. Did he go to school 5 years? Is that has 40? I guess 49 to 50, 50 to 51, 52. Anyway, you guys get it. All right, let's see what else we got. Anybody else famous you guys want me to look up? Yearbook. Famous. Let's type this in. How long we been live? About 30 minutes. We are Brooke Shields. We'll go through this here, and then I think we're probably going to wrap this up with a bow. And because I'm going to throw this all on YouTube, and I think having just a yearbook one might be good. Here's another Lucian Youngblood, which we just learned about. Celebrities and signatures, but who? Hollywood High School, Lawrence High School. Tell me who's in it, or I don't know. Oh, Robin Williams. Oh, wow. Robin Williams, by far and away, probably one of my favorite actors on the planet. Very sad when he passed. This dude was a real one. 69. God, people are so old. No, I'm kidding. This looks like something that could have been taken and done for Patch Adams. Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys remember that when he was the doctor guy? That was such a good movie. Who is he? Robin Williams. So where is he? Think we can pick him out of a crowd? Oh, that's him right there. Yep, that's him right there. That smile anywhere, man. All right, let's see what he looks like over here. So he also played soccer. That might be him in the top corner there. Yeah, I think that's him right here next to the coach. All right. What's this one? This dude, what else was he on? This guy did everything. Let's see if we can't find him. Find him. You see him. That might be him right there, looking down with that smile in the front row. Right in the center there, that could be him. I'm pretty sure that's him. Okay, cool. I don't know who this person is. I don't know. Is that like a famous basketball player or something? Who's Pete Carroll? And why is this important? Who is Pete Carroll? Graduated or went to school with, I should say, with Robin Williams. We could do Michael Jackson. It's weird being the same age as old people. Dude, I get it. I get that. Pete Carroll, longtime American football coach, currently head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. So that's famous. And we'll look up Michael Jackson. Erica Kirk, senior high school. There you go. And we'll refrain from comment. I don't know enough about her to have a comment. I was not a Charlie Cook fan. Here's Renee Nicole Good. She was the young lady that was killed by ICE up in Minnesota. Oh, here's Epstein. Oh, my God. I don't know who collects this stuff, but, Male high school, Kentucky boys. Let's just scroll down a little bit further. Oh, Benton Harbor. Wow. There's a swastika in here? No way. Oh, it's called the swastika. So you got to remember, prior to 1930, this is an interesting thing, actually. Prior to the 1930s, the Nazis weren't necessarily considered the evil thing that they are now because World War II hadn't yet happened. So prior to 1930s, you'll see a lot of sometimes Nazi memorabilia, which was much more accepted in that culture at the time, because again, World War II and the Holocaust hadn't completely changed it. And then, of course, the swastika, the symbol itself, is a misappropriated Indian Lux symbol that they rotated and did something different with. So it depends on the angle of the swastika. Yeah, the Indian one it looks just like that, but it's you'll see it in old Kipling books because Kipling writes obviously a lot about India, Jungle Book, all that stuff. But it's like if you were in Photoshop and you were to Command T and you would just rotate it, and that's what it is. So this is interesting. In 1907, 1907 predates World War I, which of course Hitler fought in World War I, and that was one of his motivations. And then the financial position Germany was in after World War I ultimately led to World War II. You know what I'm saying? Is there three different? I don't know the third one. I just know the two. So this is interesting, but I also want to point out, and the reason why I'm talking about this now is that the meanings of things change over time. So I'm going to draw this parallel, and I want everyone to understand that I'm not necessarily equating the two yet, but I'm going to talk about MAGA. MAGA is on this path. Now, that we could be MAGA could be the 1907 swastika that's accepted, but it's not always going to be that way. You should get rid of that memorabilia. You should encourage because there's going to be a time where we're going to look at that, maybe not with the same disgust as we do, with the Holocaust and Nazis, but it's going to be that level. The symbol that is MAGA is going to not be good for much longer. So if you have MAGA friends, if you are MAGA, or if you have MAGA parents or whatever, they start dropping hints as safely and as subtly, or maybe not so subtle, that their history is not going to pan out well. It's just not. Like, we're 10, 20 years from now, I'm going to be on this chat with a lot more gray going, you remember when and I said it, oh God, look what happened. I'm telling you. So history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And we're rhyming right now heavily. So I have a huge Indian community surrounding me, and they get very mad when the swastika is taken out of the original, as they should. Again, talking about a symbol that changed. That symbol was completely misappropriated. And it was funny. I went into, before I knew that, I had gone into an antique mall, and I had got a Kipling book, an older Kipling book that had that symbol. And when my immediate thought wasn't that it was a misappropriated Lux symbol from that culture. My immediate thought was that, oh man, is this like a Nazi wartime edition? Because Nazis did release editions that altered books. So I was like, oh, is this something super special and rare? And of course I went home and I looked it up and found out, and this whole history that I'm telling you now. So, symbols change over time, but we're going to look up Michael Jackson in Yearbook. Let's do that. So, MAGA's cooked. It's done. It's toast. The symbol is going to be dragged through the mud for all of time. So it's just going to take time. Remember, not like Nazis and all that stuff. They were cool all the way up until the 30s. You know what I'm saying? And then their party started doing Nazi things, what we would consider Nazi things now. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to try to find his yearbook, high school yearbook, maybe. Let me be a little more specific. So, why is it showing us the swastika thing again? We don't want to see that. All right, let's look here. Jackson 5, high school yearbook, Michael Jermaine, Tito Marlin. There's one. Quincy Jones. Does this had Michael Jackson in it? Let's see if we can't find Mr. J. Is he on this page? Well, let's do this. Let's find out what high school did Michael Jackson attend. Let's find out, and then we'll search that out exact. Goddard Junior High in Gary, Indiana, and Beverly High Schools, Beverly Hills High School. So let's look up this. Let's get years. What years did he attend Goddard? And we'll find out. We'll see. 1965 to 1969. All right, let's check that out. Goddard Junior High. Paste. Now watch, we're gonna find one of these, and it's gonna be like $2, and you're gonna watch me snag it live. How fun would that be? I would too. All right, let's do 1965. We'll just kind of go up in years until we see one. But this is kind of, I didn't realize. Now, here we go. 1965, is that the same one? No, that's in Kansas. We're looking for Indiana. All right, let's do this. Goddard Junior High, and let's just type Indiana, and let's see what that gives us. So here's maybe the right one. Yeah, I don't think there are any. 1967. So there you go, guys. There's a bolo for you. There's not one that's been wild. Well, I don't want to end on one we didn't find. Let's look. Wasn't he homeschooled? It did say that his attendance was often intermittent, but you would still think maybe he would show up for the high school photo just to have that memory. You know what I'm saying? And he might not. He may not have given a shit. Let's look up Beverly. He also said that he attended Beverly High School yearbook. And what year would that have been? We'll give this a shot, and then we'll raid somebody. Goddard Junior High, and then he said here Beverly Hills Hill, and I would assume that would probably be 69, but of course could be wrong. 1969. All right, it would not. Yeah, I mean. Oh, here's 57, but he's not going to be in that one. Oh, wow. Robin Williams and Michael Jackson were in high school at the same time. That's fun. I like this song. 1959. Is that the year that we wanted? Oh, that's Beverly, Massachusetts. Bummer. Different Beverly. All right, I don't think we're going to find it, friends. That's no good. So I really appreciate everyone hanging out with me. I know it's a little bit different using Whatnot as more of like a just kind of like a Twitch platform, but I don't know anybody on Twitch, and everybody I know is here. So I'm going to come and hang out over here, even if it's like not a normal use. That's all right, because I'm not normal. Let us go. Who do we want to raid? And again, this is going to be on YouTube later on. We're going to, everything that we learn, I'm going to literally take what we did here and just drop it right over there, unedited.